Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief recap. Today is Wednesday. The TRIers had a double 1-2 punch, about 45 minutes or so of the Beamish. Then I think about 45 minutes of the Kavark. So a big old dose of Kavarki Beamish. Who knows? Also, I have a class that I have to teach here this morning today, so probably not going to do another marathon here. We've been going at it here now for about 2 hours on the videos. So, what can we tell you about this crazy ass market? We do have a Fed meeting coming up. Well, not meeting, but Mr. Powell is having one of his sort of video conference calls on Zoom or whatever. I wonder if he'll be a cat one of these days. That's scheduled for tomorrow, and I think there's a Fed meeting minutes are being disseminated today. So I get the impression that the market is moving into whatever this event is. A little bit concerning that hearing lots and lots of anecdote of public participation. Heard a guy came in and piled in, I think, about $500,000 into the corn up top here. Hearing lots and lots of those kind of anecdotes. We did have one. What was it? There was some news article. Oh yeah, there was a stock I think that was moving in the stock market because they announced they're going to be using Doge. So it's like cryptocurrencies are arriving on the scenes. That doesn't necessarily equate to good purchases for your bank balance or for your balance sheet, regardless if you have it a bank or if you are your own bank. The prices you pay for these assets, well, that's another thing altogether. And be careful. I got a funny feeling assets are getting pretty darn expensive. We did have an TRI SOF club meeting last night. A lot of the names that we buy are pretty much out of favor, bottom end of ranges, trading at half decent fundamental valuations, but quite often their charts look like from the upper left to the lower right. But we're entering and considering entering when the chart looks like that. And of course, we want to be invested in assets that are moving from the lower left to the upper right. So, actually, I did a little bit of buying on one really interesting story, a biometric, like fingerprint scanning kind of company. And they're landing some new contracts. So, looks like the prognosis, I don't know word. That looked pretty good for this company, and at value, I don't mind throwing money to work into the market. Above value and chasing like high flyers, it's awfully tough for a guy like me. This image I think has been dominated for the past week or so with the U.S. dollar index coming off. Still a bull. Nothing's changed there whatsoever. Remember, I had said about a week or two ago, I just want to leave this trade alone, just let it do its thing. U.S. Stock market itself kind of floundering a bit there. Yesterday didn't really translate into too much of a follow-through day. And the junior stock market, you can see. So, there's not much speculative appetite in the market right now. I remember we had that crude oil chart, which looked very toppy, very heavy. It looks like it's firmed up a little bit here. The crude numbers themselves, stockpiles are drawn down a little bit. That's okay. I think the big surprise was unleaded gasoline supplies were built up quite a bit. And that sort of, brings into question whether the economy is really back sort of full steam. What should be happening is, as we're sort of heading towards the summer driving season, you should see stockpiles of the unleaded gasoline rising, yes, but also too healthy demand if the economy still is relatively strong. So we actually looked at the unleaded gasoline chart. It does look kind of toppy. But the question I would have here is, where are we in the economic cycle? And last quarter's data all validated that these commodity prices, things like crude oil demand, were still very strong. Lumber prices very strong. Basic materials, implying a pretty strong economy. It's interesting how we did have, to a certain degree, a bit of a snapback in technology stocks there recently. But you can see, interesting how stocks now are actually down a little bit on the day, but crude's actually up now. So still watching this a lot. Number one, Fed Powell speaking tomorrow, and my hunch is the market resumes whatever the trend is that it was predominantly moving in, which appears up. But I think whatever the market move is will happen after he's done speaking tomorrow. It is interesting to see the bonds are trying desperately here to put in double bottoms. Canadian bond market actually did put in double bottoms here today. I think probably also too the bonds and the gold market are going to wait for Mr. Powell and what he has to say tomorrow. As well too, and it comes out in about 5-10 minutes. We have the Fed minutes of their last meeting, i.e. their notes, what they said to each other. So my hunch is probably within the next hour or so, this whole picture is probably going to change a bit as well. So what's just the general message? General message is sort of catching a tailwind here in stock market land, on maybe the perception that things in the economy itself are booming along, and maybe inflation isn't nearly as big of a problem as we're thinking, which might bring the conversation back to sort of, workers want higher wages. Don't worry about price inflation of commodities. Let's just get this gold price up, and everybody gets their minimum wage raised. I get the impression though, if the stock market's at new highs and the stock and things are really booming, it's going to be awfully tough for Mr. Biden to convince all the politicians in the Senate and Congress to pass his very socialist, very sort of big government, higher taxes program. So, in a weird sort of way, the socialists actually would probably prefer that the stock market weaken, not be strong here. How ironic, eh? As I said, the temperament in the junior market, the temperament in risk takers, and you guys are probably feeling it in crypto now. The temperament is not bullish. I get the feeling everybody's just sort of in a holding pattern right now. When we head on over to crypto in particular, still working this fun little sort of bow tie kind of thesis with Mr. Willy Woo's interview being that sort of midpoint catalyst. Interesting to see if he's feeling nearly as bullish as he was before. I think his sort of modeling works off sort of higher time frames, bigger picture. I do actually kind of like the idea of the corn being soft into Fed meeting minutes, and oh my God, are they going to outlaw crypto? And then the Fed comes out and says, we don't care about price in cryptocurrencies. If they want to go up, let them go up. And then woohoo, up we go. Sort of complete that bow tie. Who knows? Only time will tell. I will say we're doing some serious technical, like internal damage here. We did have what I would have considered a tradable bottom coming out of this rally here. Once again, almost exactly the same as before. We just ran into just no follow-through pressure at all. And I hate to say it, but we didn't even get Mr. Purple trend here. It just never materialized. So it's that guy there. Come on, you. Well, anyway, I won't pick it up. What am I doing here? There we go. So you can see that based on this thinking, we actually just went and ammed out. Boom. Since this is our first M, it's got to be a big teal one. But this gets a little bit bothersome here. Because there's our first M. That's this message right here. So if we put the circle right there, that message on that bar was, you bulls, you better cool your jets and just leave this thing alone. And that was basically on this failure. So remember we said we had the last buy signal came off of here, and the last, better get the fuck out of there, sell signal came in through right in here. Then the market just puked out here. And, if you look at things like the S&Ps and stuff, they look kind of heavy too. Crude oil looks like an absolute mess. I think, I don't know, who knows, especially in front of Mr. Powell tomorrow. I don't know whether it's even a good idea to believe too much that you're seeing in the market right now. But I thought it was interesting on that inventory report number this morning. The crude oil people actually have a bearish setup working here. Now, we never did end out below this trend line. So notice how the trend line held it in. But one high, two highs, three highs, fractal failure. I wouldn't fault anybody for taking this short. You got to risk all the way up against these highs here. Interesting how the profile could use some work up there. So maybe this, like I said, ahead of Powell tomorrow, kind of tough for me to really say that, because if this market does absolutely puke out, then he's going to come out tomorrow and he's going to say bazooka. All right. Then the whole fucking market's going to ratchet back up. So if you're a trader, are you going to aggressively short this? Are you going to actually not only sell what you have, but actually go and short this with the understanding that if this is really weak, Mr. Bazooka could just fuck you in a heartbeat? I don't know. I don't think I would want to take that bet. Let's listen to what Mr. Powell has to say tomorrow, and then examine whether this is still working. But at the same time, like I said, especially for somebody who's like a swing trader, maybe buy a 2 or 3 month call, and you're just trading, or a put in this case, and you're just trading the option chart. I mean, that there's actually quite a few highs here to defend your short, so I really wouldn't have a problem if you were short. All right, so kind of the same thing. We're doing some technical damage here. That's not a good sign. And we've also printed beep, so we've printed that bar there. So this is now kind of in place. And actually, remember we had said this was a teal fast bull cool your jets. Now look at the size of this. This is huge. And it's going to start showing up on higher time frame RSI studies and stuff. But basically, this is a huge structural failure there. I suppose the good thing is it didn't come in through the 50 line, so it's not a really powerful signal, but nonetheless, it's a very real signal. This is valid in my opinion. I guess this is sort of harkening back to, there's the weekly, and I've been sort of saying 200 period moving average key support. Don't be surprised. I mean, I'm not calling a prediction here. I think right now we're still stuck in this trading range. But you can clearly see we're losing these channels. Now channel, we lost the channel. Okay, get back into the channel. We're losing the channel now. Notice on this last rally attempt, we tried to get back into the channel and we've been rejected away from that. So you can start thinking about these kind of channels. Oops. Oh, look at that. What a coincidence. So does that mean we have to come down, swim against these lows, see if we can, get people going, oh my God, the Beamish guy says M top, sell that level. And it's a trap and we rally back up into the midpoint of the channel again. Yeah, who knows? Or, we lose the channel midpoint and then we just puke out and come right down into sort of moving average support somewhere around here. I like that thinking. That thinking to me actually makes a lot of sense. Where really this is going to be sort of our, probably like summer fractal. You go back and look in 2017, it did something along these lines, which sets up, oh boy. And the irony of it all is that probably this channel, when we get to October, November, December, if this really does turn into absolutely insane face rips, you can see the top of the channel there. The end of the year would be what, $200,000. I know people like Willie Woo are calling for like 300,000. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. What I'll just simply say is actually a healthy cleanup of this monster bull that we've had here. It actually is probably would be healthy. It would be good. It would clean up the excesses, get some bears into this space so the trade's two directional to set up the base for the next run. So in the short term, what this image sort of in a microcosm looks like is, let's see where I have that one. Maybe it's up here. Yeah. So seems to me, first and foremost, gee whiz, a lot of supply up here. So this 50, 60,000 top end of the range, I kind of like that thinking. Guess by looking back in hindsight, reload short zones look like they were the thing. Now it's a question of, do we pull back into this trend line here for these lows? Collins pump chaser zone. First stop is the only stop. We turn and head up into things like Coinbase IPOs, which actually kind of, that doesn't resonate negatively with me. And if anything, maybe they're even setting a bit of a trap ahead of the Fed. So this is sort of like sell the rumor and then buy the news. Could be. It wouldn't shock me in this space. And then sort of Brian cheap ass kind of levels. I like key support down here in sort of this mid 40,000s. Crazier even using those kind of numbers. But I've said for a long time that I actually really like sort of, 40, I guess that's 47. I might even move that a little lower. Sort of like 45 against that candle body low as the top end of the range. And I thought the top end of our range, bottom end of the range there, I thought our top end of our range was 55,000. So turns out top end of the range actually probed all the way up into the 60s. But I still like this kind of sandwich. And that's really what I think our future is for like the next maybe, I don't know. I do like the idea that we actually need to cool down and set some sort of base for the next leg higher. And I still like the idea that while corn is in this funny looking trading range, this actually is the opportunity for the altcoins to come to life. And they have. I mean, make no mistake about it. I was actually pretty surprised to see like this little guy here. My sell half on a double levels here is at 7.25 or something like that. Obviously, there was some sort of pump event here, but while we were doing the daily brief this morning, I noticed that guy just keeps forging higher. There is a heck of a lot of red on here. There's no doubt about it. So it's not every coin. There's not many that are going up. The ones that are going up, ironically enough, are the cute little ones that I've actually said I like. So thank heavens. This one, of course, the other day I said, man, I like it so much I just want to buy it, and I did. So that's cool. And like I said, this is the only one. I don't do this very often. So if anything, thank heavens it played out the way that it did. But this is the only one I've actually done like a FOMO buy. I like the damn chart so much that I FOMO'd in. So at least now I don't look like an idiot for actually FOMOing. Other than that, man, I'll tell you, there's a hell of a lot of red on the screen here. Has maybe the correction process begun? I noticed some of the high flyers like Luna are starting to calm back down now. Maybe a little bit of, another maybe a month or two of cleanup here. I think it would be well deserved. The only thing is I wonder whether this is a bit of a trap ahead of those Fed minutes being disseminated. Actually, I guess they're out now. So people are digesting what the Fed was said at their last meeting. Keep an eye on price action here. And then also too, like I said, Mr. Powell speaking tomorrow. So, how does that go? My hunch is that he's just going to say the same message he said repeatedly recently, which should actually help this market firm up here a little bit. So let's see how it goes. All right, no idea if that helped at all, but wow, we did, I guess, about 2.5 hours of content for people today. And Kevin actually mentioned and reviewed a bunch of the names that we looked at last night in our TRI SOF club meeting. And I actually did even go buy one. Wasn't really a technical buy, just more of a value buy. But, I actually did go and spend some money today in the stock market. So, okay, I think I'll leave the rant at that. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. Kevin, if you could take us on out of here, please. The only thing left for Brian to say is a big bye for now.